Choosing between the top options in the NHL tonight, only 2 games to choose from, okay, guys? So 2 players off to good starts on the season. Would you rather play Boston's Brad Marchand or Philly's Joel Farabee in DFS tonight? Who are you going to go with, Geoff?
I mean, I'm paying up for Marchand. I mean, the Farabee story is nice. I mean, he's got 2 goals on 3 shots on net.
Wow.
He's a good young player, but I mean, like Brad Marchand, you look at this slate, I mean, goals per game over the last 12 months, he's the leader. He's even outscoring David Pastrnak just from that perspective. Now, I think Pastrnak will probably even the things out here pretty quickly, but this Boston line, first line, it's a big spot. The Philadelphia Flyers, they're still the Flyers. They've got one of the worst goalie tandems in the league. They were second last in terms of penalty kill efficiency last year. They've already kind of sucked in that regard this year, too. The one good offense they faced in Vancouver already kind of lit them up. This Boston first line should roll here tonight. If Farabee's nice, it's a 2-game slate, so you're not going to write him off. You can play these 2 together, but if I'm picking one team from this game, I mean, I'm just going to go with the chalk and ride the Boston first line.
All right, AJ, you want to go with the chalk here?
I'm just here to listen to Geoff trash the Flyers. Like, I could enjoy that all day, every day. Just keep rolling, Geoff. Look, I agree with Geoff. I think you could consider using both guys tonight. I don't see any reason not to based on their price tags. But, yeah, between the 2, Marchand, even at 7,100, is the better option here. Look, he's on the Bruins' #1 power play. Farabee's on the second unit. He's got 5 shots on goal, Marchand that is. For Farabee, his individual Corsi 4 is just 5. So that speaks to what Geoff was saying about, like, he's capitalizing on limited opportunities. But I'd rather have the high-volume guy in Marchand who's going to get pucks on net, and plenty of those are going to come with the man advantage as well.
Paul, 3 for 3 on Marchand. What do we think?
Absolutely. Marchand is a guy who's the best example that I can find of a player you hate as an opponent but love as a teammate. I go with him in this comparison because he still plays on what I expect to be as one of the top lines in the whole league, as well as the top power play unit. And he's also on the ice for late game and shorthanded stuff, so he gets his share of empty netters as well. I give Farabee credit, though, for cracking a Flyers top 6. He's now listed as second line left wing, and he's certainly off to a hot start, but will get less playing time than Marchand overall, as well as fewer high leverage minutes, as he's expected to play on the second power play unit. So that's another consideration. So 3 for 3 here.
All right, let's talk about the second game tonight. As Geoff mentioned, there's only 2 games on the site. So the Blues, Jordan
I actually
KYROU.
mentioned it.
What's up?
I mentioned it.
Did you mention it? Well,
Yeah.
I thought Geoff mentioned it too.
I think
It was a backup mention just in case people like yourself
So we've
missed
had-
it, Emerson, which clearly is what
Okay,
happened.
so listen,
I'm just
we've
saying-
had multiple mentions on this segment that tonight's slate is
we
only
can
a 2-game
confirm
slate.
it's a 2-game slate.
Thank you very much. So the Blues' Jordan KYROU has been on fire to start the season with 2 goals and 6 points. That's in just 2 games, Jesse. I don't know if you've mentioned that.
Wow.
yet. Meanwhile, Vegas will need a little more from Jonathan Marchessault with Max Pacioretty out of this lineup. Who is the better DFS play this evening, AJ?
Well, in a 2-game slate like this, I think you have to consider using KYROU as the hot hand here, but ultimately I would lean towards Marchessault. He's coming in at just $4,500, which for a first-line top power play guy like under 5K, that's almost too good to pass up. I know the production on the ice isn't there, at least at the same level, but I do like Marchessault's matchup a little bit better going against Binnington, while KYROU is probably going to face Robin Leonard tonight. So I do think, again, this might be a spot where you could try and use both. But between the 2, I like Marchessault a little bit better here.
Okay, Paul, not a whole lot of options here on just a 2-game slate.
This is not going to be unanimous, so we'll divvy it up a little bit. Again, I give KYROU credit for bursting out of the gate with his impressive totals through the 2 games. And there's 2 games tonight, too, right? He's still listed on that second line and second power play unit. A lot of 2s in today's show. When I focus on Marchessault, I see another veteran who has a top 6 guy and has been since joining the Knights as an established team leader now. Further to that, the Vegas roster is decimated to the point that they will be missing their top 2 offensive pieces in Pacioretty and Stone, among a host of other regulars. Marchessault will play top line minutes here as well as the #1 power play, but it's the fact that the Blues can focus on their defensive attention on limited offensive catalysts in Vegas lineup that include Marchessault that causes me to lean in favor of KYROU in this matchup. St. Louis is a much healthier lineup with lots of experience, and they will be expected to put a clamp on the Vegas offense. So I go with KYROU in this spot.
Okay, Jeff, what do you think, dude?
Yeah, I mean, again, we're talking two game slate dynamics here. I mean, Jonathan Marchessault at 4,500. I mean, even if Pacioretty and Stone were in the lineup, this is too cheap for him. I mean, he's a pretty elite shot producer. You look at this slate, he's second at wing in terms of just like shots per game. I mean, this guy gets it done when the other guys are around. Now he's bumped up to a first line role. He's way too cheap, but he's also going to be heavily owned. I think Paul nailed this. If you're looking at playing this game or how this game could play out from a leverage perspective and big GPPs tonight, St. Louis has been the better team thus far. Their offense is rolling. They could just cruise here to like a 5-1 win. If that's the case, you should be thinking about using KYROU as the pivot option here, because all the goals will come for St. Louis. And if Vegas just gets like one or shut out or something, then Marchessault, even if he gets some shots on goal, probably going to be a bust. So at the same time, if you're building a cash lineup, you should just play him. But Jonathan Marchessault grades out as the better play. But again, we've got to think it's a 2-game slate. There's a lot more dynamics here.
All right, guys, let's move on over to the sportsbook side of things. 2-game slate.
Yeah,
so there's 4
really
teams. So there's just 4 teams in action tonight. So, Paul, who offers the best money line option of the 2-game slate?
I think I made my case for the Blues on the money line as the visitors tonight in Vegas because of all the injury woes that plague the home side at the moment. My pal AJ has taken a lot of heat for a hot take on Robin Lehner as well to start the season, but the guy's been not too good in his 2 starts this season, and that's another problem in the Vegas mix. An experienced St. Louis club has scored 12 goals in 2 games, and that's the last thing that Knights want to deal with at the moment. So I like the visitors on the money line at plus 110. And similarly, I like the Bruins' attention to defense that I've come to expect in recent years to be a factor again tonight, despite a number of changes to their roster. For instance, Jeremy Swayman is a young guy who's been a solid goalie option since joining the club last year, so he won't be an issue as long as the team in front of him continues to play with their usual focus. Meanwhile, the Flyers have overhauled their defense, and I'm not sure it's going to lead to better protection for a pair of suspect goalies in the mix too. Marty Jones will make his season debut. He's really struggled in his last 2 years in San Jose with the goals against north of 3 and a save percentage around 90%. That's not very good numbers. And it's those numbers that will take a beating tonight, as I expect Boston to win and pay off at plus 180 on the puck line as the 1.5 goal favorite here.
All right, Jeff, 2 games tonight to choose from. Best money line option.
Yeah, I confirmed. I mean, I was looking for that 3rd game, Jesse,
Yeah.
but not there. Look, it's the Boston Bruins at minus 145 on the money line. I mean, what are we doing here? Again, it's the Philadelphia Flyers. I mean, in what shape or form are the Flyers better than the Bruins in any phase of the game here? We've got Swayman playing at an elite level already through 1 game. You've got the Bees first line healthy. You've added Taylor Hall for a whole season. Everything here about the Bruins just speaks that this is like the more elite team. And I get it. Like these are rivals and sometimes these games get a little chippy and they can just be grinded out of fairs and close. But I think when you're getting these odds right now in the Boston Bruins early in the season, we're going to look back and say, how is it this close? I'm going to take Boston here on the money line because, again, even at minus 145, I think you're getting really good value.
AJ, 2 games to choose from. What do we think?
Well, Jeff's absolutely right in terms of Boston on the money line, even giving up that juice. But I'll make an argument to take the Golden Knights here, just to contradict Paul. Of course, you're giving up a little bit of juice, but this was at minus 135, and now it sits at minus 125 on the DK Sportsbook. So it's improving in terms of how much juice you have to give up. The defense is one of the best in the league with top offensive options in Pietrangelo and Theodore. I think they can get better net minding out of Robin Lehner. They're going to get a handful of kind of depth guys back. I think that's going to help them. William Carrier, Nicholas Waugh, both those guys playing tonight. And so that'll bolster their depth, even though they will be without Pacioretty and Stone. I think they can pull this one off, and I'm willing to give up minus 125.